Hi, this is Eli Ochiltree of the SnoKing Beekeepers Association. We are going to start with announcements, uh, a little about the queen workshop update, the swarm collecting, and then our speakers from GRuB are going to come talk to us about how to connect veterans with beekeeping and other agricultural assistance and support and reimbursements. It is May 15th, 2024. And Michael's going to interrupt me when our speakers come. The biggest one is we've had swarms all over the place, both sides of the sound. Um, everything is swarming. Spring has sprung, as they say. And those of us who weren't prepared for it, but actually, I usually keep my hives from swarming. I've been doing some very aggressive swarm. You can't prevent a swarm. I refer to it as management. Control or prevention is asking to get your ego knocked down a little, but managing. I'm doing demarays. I'm even checkerboarding the overwintered hives. I'm adding supers, a little equalizing, doing all the tricks I know. So, Mike, do you want to talk about swarm collecting first? Would that be best? Because that's kind of in some ways the most important topic.
Yeah, we've got some time.
Okay.
I was willing to take over taking the swarm collection and calling people. One of the things that Eli and I talked about was if you volunteer to collect the bees are yours to do with what you want. If you sell them, I was conferring with Eli that we would ask for a $25 donation if you sell them so that we can use it for supplies. And in this case, we're looking to get a microscope for the club, and I think that would be a great way to get funds without having to fork out any money for the purchase of it. We just get it through donations. Um, so um, that's kind of where my thoughts are on that. Any input, or I know that I'm waiting for Bob and Brenda to come online because they offered to collect swarms, but I don't have their phone information to be able to add them to the list.
Yeah, I can look at our membership, but the name doesn't mean anything to me.
Um,
So the information you need from each person, Mike. Oh, first, I guess we should finish the microscope. The microscope would be really handy to have. Anybody got like a 300, 400 power or dissection microscope that we could use for nosema and tracheal mite testing and observation? I'm going to the workshop, and I hope some other people are too, this Saturday in Puyallup. It's also going to be Sunday in Mount Vernon, I think. And it's hosted by WSU, the Honeybee Outreach Coordinator, Bree Price. She came and spoke here like 6 months ago. So if people could pitch in here, something here and there for the swarms, if they're going to sell them. Otherwise, if people are keeping them, if they're members, they've already paid their dues. So Mike, what you need out of each person that contacts you, and I put your email too, just in case, you
yeah,
need the number that they are glued to during the swarm season. They're
right.
hopefully the cell phone is on their hip. And then what do you need too?
Yeah,
They're
so I'll send everybody to a distribution list where I will just send out a broadcast message, and whoever's in the area that wants it, whoever's in the area that is willing to help with the primary person that wants to do it, that kind of stuff. But yeah, mostly your contact phone number, and then as a backup, an email would be good for like general keeping up on stuff and communicating that doesn't require immediate action.
and their general address, right? Because you got to know where they're starting from as to how long
Yeah,
it's going to
correct. I
take them.
just like the city you're
Yeah.
in and then the distance that you're willing to travel from that city. Obviously, I don't want to blanket everybody all the time. I would probably want to set up a north side, south side, east side, west side, and then that way we can just have those that are in those specific areas um, notified so that not everybody's getting their phone blown up.
Although it's just for a short time of the year, mostly for a short time of the year. Was someone else going to ask a question? And then you can get a hold of Mike through the chat right now. I put his phone number and his email up. At least the phone number is in the newsletter and on the homepage for SnoKing, bka.org on our website. There's Ron, Steve, and Mike. Anything else, Mike?
No, I'm good for now.
Okay. And then I was going through the announcements. The apiaries Ron is opening this Sunday, but he's not supposed to lift over 5 pounds. We really need people to show up, and he has to stand there and let you do the hands-on part. He can only talk and supervise. And this is a great time for people to get some real journeyman experience, some credits toward helping out, because you are going to have to be doing actively in there. And anyone who is less experienced than you are going to be helping, assisting, and mentoring. So apiary time can count and really make, if you go on every other week, he's probably going to be every other week in Granite Falls, down in Maltby, where I am. We won't be open this weekend because, as I mentioned, I've got to go to that to the Nosema tracheal mites workshop, just just to make sure there's not something I don't already know. I understand the theory, and I've done it. I've done a lot of cell counting on a hemocytometer. We have to get a couple of those too, but we do need a microscope, as Mike was mentioning. Uh, we are still going to have both classes resuming on the 25th, the weekend after this one. We'll still have what's a basic class, not to be insulting to anyone, but to go through something that we can start out very basic. And if the people who come are more advanced, we'll just up the ante. But basically, last time we did, what do you do for hive inspection? How do you start? How do you even, I remember they told me to do a hive inspection every week when I started with bees. And I said, okay. I walked out, I looked at it. It's still there. It didn't disappear. It didn't fall down. What am I supposed to do beyond that? So we went through the steps of what you actually do when you walk out to your hive to do an inspection. This time we'll do, okay, you got your nukes in your packages. Where are you now on what you're supposed to be doing? In feeding, expanding, is yours meeting what your expectations? Does it match what other people are saying theirs are doing in the same area? Okay, so each week we'll pick something that we are going to do as a topic for 10 a.m. to noon. Then 1 to 3 p.m., starting on the 25th. Actually, we've already started the Queen workshop. We've already started prepping the hives, building up the population, making the plans. We have the nuke boxes sorted out. There's a lot of stuff we've already started, but we need to take a break until the 25th and come back. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then we have groups meeting, the Hive Mind meeting on the fourth Monday for beginner to intermediate beekeepers, and the more advanced meet on the first Wednesday of each month, trophallaxis. If you've taken the academic portion of Journeyman, that test to get started on your Journeyman, then you're eligible to come to the trophallaxis group. And we talk about a more advanced topic that would actually probably be a little bit bewildering if you haven't had a certain amount. Oh, here. Oh, I just saw our speaker come on.
Eli,
Yes.
Eli, Alex just clicked on.
Okay, Alex is here. Okay, if I run through a couple more announcements and then I'll pause and you can start speaking because we really want to hear Alex. Okay, outreach. I did want to say we need people for certain outreach things. Great time to get your journeyman service hours in. In Everett, we need either the 22nd or the 29th. We still can choose. We could use up to 3 volunteers. One very talented person could do it. There are adults there to help. Present to a group of elementary school kids. And it's an after-school project. Let me know if you're interested in that. Granite Falls, Ron with his ripped out shoulder needs help all the time. If you're up in that area, give him a hand. We don't want him lifting more than 5 pounds and getting any more hurt than he already is. Maltby, I just talked about that. We're going to carry on with the basic classes in the morning. Queen workshop, back on that, back on track with that, starting May 25th. There is a June 22nd day that we need somebody at a booth there. It's called the Something Fun Fest. It's a 12 to 5, set up a booth and tear it back down again. So it's a day's worth of work. And we could use at least 3 people. Whenever you're talking to the public, it takes like 3 people to be able to handle all the questions. We can have an observation hive or anything else we want there. And if there's another club, there are people on here from other clubs. If your club doesn't have a tent, but you'd like to be represented there, we'll just ask if we can put up the double-sized tent that we use for our fair, the Evergreen State Fair. And I'm sure that'd be okay. And you'd be in the shade and out of the rain. It might actually be sunny on June 22nd. The way the weather's going, it's possible. If you need to share, put your club at one end and our club takes the other end, that would be great. Evergreen State Fair, keep that in mind because that's our we need a lot of people for an 11-day fair. The queen rearing workshop. And I'll talk more about that after Alex gets a chance to tell us the really important thing we all really came for tonight. But it's a workshop to go through the process of raising queens. Raising queens, a lot of queen workshops that you hear about, and they talk to you for 1 or 2 days, and then you go home and you try it, it doesn't work. I can tell you right now, it's almost as high as the failure rate for just beekeepers in general. They say there's an 80% failure rate. They can't overwinter their queens, their hives in the first couple of years, and they finally just give up. And that's terrible. I don't know if it's really that high. But on queen rearing, everybody can do a walk-away split. And if you haven't, if you're a beginner enough, you haven't heard the term, you will start hearing it a lot. But that's not the best use of your resources and your time, and you may not get the best queens. So going through the process, through the week's worth of process, that's what our club is doing. And I don't even know if there's another club doing it in the same way. And we do want to get great queens, but we want to go through the process and then develop a plan that our club and other clubs could use successfully to raise healthier local queens, more sustainable, possibly more cost effective. But the best thing is you're going to get to know other beekeepers in the best possible way in the apiary. And we'll have a lot of fun. And I want to just say why we are doing this as a club. If you are going through the 6 to 8 week process, timing is critical. If you are doing this on your own and you miss a weekend that you were going to do something, if you miss that step, you can lose everything. If you try to do something fast that you should have done a little more care with, the number of steps, you skip one of them. Oh, I know there's no emergency cells in there. I can just go ahead and put these grafts in. No, trust me, you are doomed. It's Murphy's Law that if you assume something, you will have trouble. So trying to get through 6 or 8 weeks, doing all the little steps, and that's what I really want to write out this year. And next year we'll do it, we'll actually charge for it. So you're actually getting a chance to take this before we really charge for this queen rearing workshop and learn a lot. But the other thing is specialized equipment costs. And if you come out, you'll see, yeah, the walkaway split's easy, but you get one queen at a time and you gave up a lot of your equipment and a lot of your resources and your honey production drops. But if you get the specialized equipment, it costs. You'll have an opportunity to do grafting, which is the big one everybody talks about, and also compare it to other queen rearing methods that have really, really good points. There's ways that they are much better than grafting. Grafting, you get a whole bunch of queens at one time. Maybe you don't want that many at one time. And there's another method where you wouldn't be trapped in a 6 to 8 week constant steps process. If you understand the concepts, you're going to be a success. And it's a wonderful chance to talk bees and to do something. I don't know if any other club is really doing this, really explaining how to go through all the steps. I can't find it on the internet. I don't know. So if you're interested, contact me, Eli. My phone number and email are everywhere. So I really want to stop sharing so that I can, let's see, I'm going to stop this share. Okay, so we can let Alex put up what she wants to talk about. And it's really exciting because this has been promised for a while. We've been hearing about, well, there's going to be all this help with veterans. It's already there, but we don't know how to access it. And there's a certain amount of government involved. And when government's involved, we need an interpreter, an ombudsman. Isn't that what it's called? So, Alex, you might have to introduce yourself. I just
Mm.
know vaguely that you're GRuB, and there's a lot of names for what you bring. You bring order out of the chaos, is the way I see it. There's this program here, this grant here, this you might be available. Yeah. Okay. So
Eli, am I off muted? Is this what you want?
quite possibly, I'll talk to you afterwards, Wade.
Yeah, it's like a 10 by 15 or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll talk to you later and see. Yeah. It might
Okay.
be, especially for the, I can't tell if that's dissecting. It looks like it might be. Okay. Let's, thank you, Wade. Let's go. Okay. Alex. And
All
I don't know how
right.
to pronounce your name even.
Alex. Yeah, no, Alex is
But
great.
Cuming,
Oh, my last name Cummings.
it is
Cummings
Cummings.
with
No,
one M.
one
Yeah,
M.
it is. Yeah,
Okay.
just one M. So it's spelled a little different. But yeah, thank you, Eli, so much. So Eli had reached out to me a month ago or something, and it's been great. Eli, I've already referred so many people over to SnoKing. And so I don't know if you can see the change in your admissions for your beginner bee classes, but there's been a lot. So thank you so much. So yeah, I'm Alex. I work with GRuB. It stands for Garden Raised Bounty, and it's an urban nonprofit farm in Olympia, Washington. It was established in 1993. So it's been around for quite a long time, but it started off as a little history about GRuB is that it started off as a project where they would build gardens for low income folks. So they'd build gardens in backyards, and then Alan Woods of Woods Bee Co. and the president of WASBA, he lives in Centralia, which is closer to us, and um, he was kind of the start of the beekeeping, the way that we got involved with bees. So Bo Gromley, who started the veteran program at GRuB, he was at Evergreen State College, and his kind of culminating project was starting a farm at behind the Thurston County Food Bank. So he started this small farm back there, and that was like the first veteran project farm that was funded through Boeing's Our Heroes grant. So they gave us a grant to start the Shepherd Project, which really supported veterans in their agricultural goals. And then Alan heard about it, approached Bo, and then we from there got a grant through the USDA, and that funded the Healing Through Hives project. So that started supporting veterans in their beekeeping goals, whether that's a hobby or a business. So that's kind of the background of like GRuB, Veteran Project. I'm the Veteran Project coordinator. Jenna is my partner, and she like partner at GRuB. My coworker, she is the manager. And so it's the two of us who like run the program together. She is leaving for New Mexico, which is why she's not here tonight. Um, but that's that. So my history with veterans, both my parents are Army veterans. Jenna is a Navy veteran, so that's kind of our background with that. with beekeeping, Jenna is an apprentice level beekeeper. I just finished my beginner beekeeping certification in February. So that's where we're at. And then kind of our goal right now with Healing Through Hives is I'll go through and I can even try and share the screen here in a minute with all of the things that we can offer for veterans. But basically kind of our goals right now is we are establishing different apiary sites. So we have different partners. We have partnerships with the Orning Farm. So that's a wash of the WDVA, the Washington State Department of Veterans Affairs. They have a farm in Orning, and that was our first apiary site. And then we have an apiary site down in Rochester at the Veterans Ecological Trade Collective. And then we just got bees delivered last night to GRuB. And so we have 4 hives, and that's like our newest apiary. And we really want that to be a learning apiary. So we'll have some different hives out there. We'll have IQ hives, and then Langstroth hive, long Langstroth hives. So that's really, and then we also want to make that space more accessible to people that have disabilities or, you know, they're in wheelchairs. They can't they don't have the strength to manage, certain hives. So we really want to make that accessible to everybody. And then in 2025, we hope to establish an apiary site with Growing Veterans, which is another nonprofit farm up in Linden. So those are kind of the sites that we have in mind right now. And that way, because not everybody can have bees on their property. So we want these hives to be accessible for people to go and get their journeyman hours, and just like have hands-on experience with the bees. So, and then please anybody interrupt me if you have any questions or need anything clarified. Okay, let me see. How do I share? It's been a long time since I've used Zoom. Let's see.
You have a green button.
Oh,
Mine
yeah.
Okay.
How do I share the screen? Let's see. Start share. Oh, here we go. Let's see if this works.
Aha.
Oh, perfect. Did that work?
Yes.
Okay.
Looking at
So
the complicated one. I was reading this and it's very informative.
it has a
Yes.
lot of information. So I'll go ahead and walk us through like what's all in here. So we partner with the Washington chapter of the Farmer Veteran Coalition. So a lot of people have reached out to us through the Washington Farmer Veteran Coalition. We have a form on that website, and that's just kind of how we can track the amount of people who are like reaching out and like what exactly they're looking for. It talks about the 2 projects we have, the Shepherd Project and Healing Through Hives, and like what those are funded through. And then there's Jenna and I's information. And then so here's some like specifics about what we can fund. So Shepherd Project, we can support $250 of support, which is involved in like the educational aspects. Definitely everybody's case is different. So this is kind of just like an overall idea of what we can provide, but depending case by case, we can help in different ways for each person. So yeah, we have different connections like WASU's, Washington State University's Cultivating Success courses. So that's one of our partners that we provide that resource, an educational resource for folks who are wanting to start a farming business or in that agricultural business in that aspect. And then we like host different workshops, and we have connections to different organizations that host workshops or conferences, and we can connect people to that. A lot of it is down in this area, which is why I am glad that Eli had reached out, because we really don't have a lot of connections up in the Seattle, King County area. A lot of it's down like Lewis County, Thurston County, Mason County. And then, so Shepherd Project, that's more of like farm and agriculture. Healing Through Hives is really about the bees. So we'll cover, so once people have finished their classes, they send us their receipt and their certificate, and then we reimburse for the class fees and any educational resources that were associated with that. And then we also provide stipends for mentors. So if you're interested in being a mentor and mentoring to our veteran cohort, and that involves hosting a workshop or going out to sites and assisting in that way to people's homes or something like that, we'd provide every year it would be a $500 stipend.
So
Um,
Jenna, what is it okay to interrupt you? Because
yeah,
what are you looking for in a mentor? How much experience would you like to get? Veterans? Talking to veterans? I mean,
ideally, yes, but we also have mentors currently that aren't veterans and who are either have experience working with veterans or are just interested in helping that population. So it's not specific. Ideally, because we just want people who understand veterans and that, like, those transitions and things that come with that population.
do you have an application form or people sort of write up a paragraph and tell you why they want to be a mentor or
Jenna usually, so we don't have any sort of like application or anything that formal. Jenna manages the mentorship side of things. I manage more of the individual cohort members. So if anyone's interested in being a mentor, they would reach out to Jenna, and then Jenna has like a one-on-one conversation and kind of goes through like, yeah, what's your experience level? I think most of our mentors are at the journeyman level or people who have just been beekeeping for, a long time and they can kind of demonstrate. I don't know what Jenna's exact criteria, if she has any really, but I mean it'd have to be people who feel comfortable enough to educate other people.
okay.
So, and I would hope like and we're working more on the like formalities of things. I think we've entrusted individuals a lot. So if they say that they have experience, or if they say that they, maybe they haven't gone through formal education, but they have 20 years of experience in beekeeping, we kind of just take their word for it. I would hope that, people aren't just out there coming in and leading others astray. We haven't had any of that happen. So I highly doubt that that would be a problem, but yeah, so nothing formal at the moment, but yeah, most of our mentors right now are at the journeyman level, and it's because that they need hours. So,
Oh, yes.
so that's
Okay.
kind of what that's about. Um,
And then also, can I ask about why in the world does it say $300 for the journeyman level? The class, as you buy it from WASBA, the beginner and the apprentice levels make sense. But why does journeyman jump to 300 when the manual and the certificate only cost, I think, 50?
I am not sure. I would have
Okay.
to ask Jenna. Yeah, so I don't know I haven't reimbursed anybody for their journeyman level certificates yet, so I'm not sure where that number came from, if there's more involved. Yeah, and we can talk about that later
Okay,
too.
maybe it's
I
some
don't
kind
know
of
if it's,
expenses or something, or I don't know.
yeah, I'm not sure if what that all covers. I don't know if it's like once people get to a journeyman level and they need more equipment or something like that, then we would cover more based on that. So I am not sure, but I can get some clarification on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And then we really want to make sure that everybody is connected. And so right now it feels like we're kind of disconnected. And we really want people to, you know, be able to come down to our farm, or for, you know, the folks that we're involved with to come up to, you know, the King County area and make connections that way. So we also can reimburse people for their travel expenses, and you know, that includes like stays or mileage reimbursements, that sort of thing. So we don't want people to not go places because they don't have access to it. We want to be able to provide that. So that's another benefit that we can offer, another resource there. And then like aside from just like the beekeeping courses and like farming education and stuff, we also partner with different organizations that are like all online. So we have Home Street Bank. We work with a woman there, and she provides financial literacy and financial planning courses and one-on-one like advice. So that's something that we offer. And then Enterprise for Equity is they help with business planning. So that's another, those are the two like business planning, financial partnerships that we have that help people just get started with their business if they're interested in making beekeeping or farming a business. And then for veterans too, we also have partners with Growing Veterans. They offer peer support training and can help you get set up as a peer supporter, and then help support you in if that's something that you want to pursue in doing on your own, is offering peer support trainings. We can help navigate that process. We have different mentors that are more on like the mental health and well-being, physical wellness side of things. And then what's the other thing I was going to say? That. And then also we have veterans, so we have some veteran service officers that we are in touch with. So if any veterans need help accessing their VA benefits and navigating that whole side of the system, we have people that will help them navigate that. So we really just, our kind of job at GRuB is just to hone in on all the resources that are out there and then try and connect people to as much as we can. So all like the business side of things, if we have experience writing grants, so if you need help writing grants for your business, or your, you know, if you need certain equipment or something like that, we can assist in that. For example, one of our cohort members, she lost all her bees due to a fire last year. So we're currently working with her on a grant to get money for all of the equipment that she lost. Since we can only provide so much, she needs more funding, so we can help access and navigate through all of that. We have a grant coordinator who is wonderful, and she can like assist with anybody who needs help with grants. So yeah, we really just want to make sure that like everyone is connected, everyone has resources, because the story we tell ourselves a lot if we aren't connected is that we just can't do it. But if we have, you know, the right people to help us, to help guide us along the way, then we can get there. So that's most of all I have. Did you have any other questions or anything else you wanted me to share, Eli?
I noticed on there it mentioned that you're going to do a Washington statewide veterans, try to get people together,
The
veteran
club.
beekeepers.
So yes,
Yeah.
we are, that has not, that's like the seeds have been planted for that.
Mm-hmm.
It has not been started. But yes, our goal, so our overarching goal, I think, is to start a veteran-centric beekeeping club. And this is not just exclusive to veterans. It's anybody who like is affiliated with veterans, or who wants to like be a part of that community in any way, or help that community in any way. So basically the whole premise of that would be to kind of create some sort of cooperative group where, you know, everybody works together in the sense of like the most money, I think, and what this is kind of what Jenna was saying to me, is that money from beekeeping is really made through pollination contracts. And so the idea there was to be able to take all of the bees and then be able to send them to different places based on that. I understand that there's a lot there with the pollination contracts as well, and like sending your bees somewhere and entrusting somebody else to take care of them. So I'm not familiar with that whole that world, but we know a couple people who are. So that was kind of the goal with starting like with the bee club eventually. But really we want it to be just like everyone's connected and in a veteran-centric based perspective, and then everybody kind of works together in this resource sharing way, because beekeeping individually is not very lucrative, and I understand that. So if we can all work together in some way or like share ideas, that might be more beneficial than doing it on your own.
Alex, this is Colleen. I have
Hi,
a question.
Colleen.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I was wondering if you have outreach into Jefferson County.
We have some, yeah, so we have some mentors out there. We just went to Gray Fox Farm, and that's
Yes,
owned by
I've been there.
Lorraine.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lorraine is one of our mentors. But we haven't had, we don't have, we're just now venturing out into that area.
So if we want to participate, if I want to, my husband and I want to participate in this effort, should we reach out to Lori at Gray Fox or contact you or Jen or whatever?
So yeah, so the way that that would work, yeah, so you could reach out to me, and then basically I would send you, well, I would ask you what you're looking for. So if you're interested in, say, like furthering your beekeeping education, say you want to be a master, then we would start like we would be funding your
No,
journey.
no, I'm not.
I
I'm
know,
already
I
my master's.
hypothetically speaking, but
I want to help veterans in that. And actually, we were at her farm last fall when she was overridden by yellow jackets.
okay.
Yeah, and so I understand, you know, some of the problems out there. So I
Yeah.
guess my question is, how can we help? I would like to help veterans
Okay.
in Jefferson County.
That will be, I'll have to talk to Lorraine. She's really the only person that we have connected out there. There are a few others though that I need to round with. So the American Farmland Trust has learning circles for veteran women and like women that are affiliated with veterans. So it's more for women, but there are some other veteran women farmers in that area as well. So so you can go ahead and reach out to me. Um, and then I can look more into connecting you with different opportunities once I also find.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to help with veteran opportunities in Jefferson County to
Okay,
help her and stuff like that.
perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And so Alex, I did put yes, I put your email on the newsletter for sure. We could put it in
Okay.
chat too, but
Yes.
it's just your name, isn't it? At GoodGrub.
It's at, yeah. I think it's just Alex at, let me see. Yeah, Alex at goodgrub.org.
Yes. Oh, and then
Right there.
Jenna, same
I'll put
thing.
it in, and then Jenna as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, the idea of a veterans club, that really sounds neat. For networking, I don't know about the pollination. I have to admit, I'm a little
I,
skeptical on that because of the volumes and the problems and uh but some people do it.
yeah.
They're part of a larger and they sort of tag along. I have heard of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But But wow, I'll tell you, in beekeeping, the biggest rewards, well, they're personal. There's the getting your own crops pollinated. The first year
Right.
you put hives on your property and you have a bumper crop of apples, pears, cherries, your gooseberries, your currants, your raspberries. Well, raspberries is a lot bumblebees, but strawberries, everything just goes crazy and you get bumper crops of everything that first year. Things like that are just wow. And it's kind of nice to be able to share them with somebody.
Right. We also partner with, we partner with the Thurston Conservation District, but they're just because they're in our area, but they're connected with all the other conservation districts. And so if individuals are interested in, having a site visit from their conservation district or need some help with, like we had a pollinator workshop the other night, and they kind of discussed, depending on, you know, your property and what you're looking for, they can help kind of design or tell you what plants you should get and where they should go. So that was helpful last night. But we'll have a booth at the Pollinator Fun Fest that's on June 22nd too. So if anybody's interested in going to that and talking to us further and in person, we'll be there.
And you would be happy to give this same talk to other clubs too, because a
Yeah.
lot of people here belong, as Colleen was just saying, they're over in the East Jefferson area, and so East Jefferson Bees, and then I know we've got other people. I think I saw somebody from West Sound, and then a lot of people belong to more than one club. So I'm figuring that and you don't mind being recorded because you are being recorded,
Yeah.
right? That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll put the recording out on our channel, and then
Great.
everybody can refer back. And we send our
Yeah.
newsletter out. So if we get the word out, I suspect this could pick up really fast.
That
Getting
would be really great. Yeah, because this is still a new program, so there's still a lot that needs to be formalized and, we're working with like for trial and error, still a lot of different things. So yeah, our goal right now is really we want to be as connected as we can because we have these resources and we have these opportunities and they're not reaching everybody that we can. So that's our goal. So
yeah,
thank you. Yeah.
communication in beekeeping is kind of tough, but we do eventually get there, right? We pass the word along from club to club, and we do eventually get there. But it's not like a top-down system. It doesn't work that way. It works by somebody's interested, somebody talks to somebody else, and then the Facebook group pages help some.
Right.
People put the
Hey,
word
I
out.
just wanted to, excuse me, I wanted to mention that Tim up at Stanwood Bee Club, he has a lot of bee contracts with like the Blue Diamond almond fields. And he has another one somewhere up north at some blueberry fields. So that's what he does. And there are hundreds of hives that he contracts out. So you were talking about, contracting the
Right.
pollination. He's one that, that could be reached out to as well. He has a
Okay.
lot of information. And I have contact for him and Eli and everyone else, just Stanwood Bee Club. But
Okay.
Mhm.
he does a lot of business with that, just as I mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, just asking questions even and not trying to understand the whole process is really
Yeah.
important. I personally don't know a lot about it, so Jenna knows a little bit more, because Bo, who started the program, and then Jenna came on, um, he's a journeyman or in the journeyman course now, and then works with Alan, who does have a pollination contract. So yeah, that would be a good resource. So thank you.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting process, and you see his truck loaded up and,
Hmm.
they're 4 or 5, hives tall and, he's got 15, across and 20 down and he hauls them all the way down there and leaves them and then comes back and gets them
Right.
you know, it's interesting.
Yeah.
the trust of somebody, like you said, the trust of somebody else taking care of all your bees like that. That's I don't know, it'd be questionable for me,
You
but
know, especially if it's
obviously
your
there's,
business. Yeah.
they're doing a good job or he wouldn't do it.
Okay, yeah. So there are some pollinators, and sometimes they attach smaller farmers on. They need to complete a contract. They promise so many thousand, so they need another 20 or 50. So
Mhm.
that's often the way they help, or the advice is a lot. If, of course, they don't have time to talk, except in the down season, probably.
Right.
It's probably like November. It's probably the closest thing to a down season that a commercial beekeeper with pollination contracts has. I suspect that.
Have you
Oh, and
had
another
any?
cool thing, excuse me, another cool thing is that Tim, if somebody has, 15 hives that they want to throw on his truck to go down there and really build the hives, and then they get, I don't know, 200 or 300 bucks a hive for taking them down there. He does that for people, so that's pretty cool
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Wade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Alex,
So,
you were going to say,
oh, well, I was just gonna ask, like, if you had, like, have you had any meetings or conversations about pollination contracts or commercial beekeeping in that way, or are you not really
no, we
here to that?
probably could have it.
Okay.
There's a lot of risk, of course. You're hearing both sides of it.
Yeah.
And if you're just coming into beekeeping, the beekeeping is one thing, and then coordinating people is this other thing, which I
Right.
admire you for doing, because even between the member clubs and inside of WASBA and inside of the beekeeping community, that's one of the hardest things.
Yeah.
And our club has really worked hard at getting a regular newsletter out and having a Facebook discussion group and having apiaries, because not every club, as you've already found out,
Mm-hmm.
probably it you need hands-on experience, but not all the clubs
No.
have the apiaries. And so
Right.
yes, having them up in this area. Um, WSU has no, they lease the land. Pierce County Beekeepers Association has. Actually, in some ways, you need a list of who has apiaries,
I
things
do.
like that. You need that actually.
Yeah.
Um, wow, I should
Yeah,
write
so
that
the
down.
main questions that I've gotten from people reaching out in the past like month or so, I would say, a lot are up in like the Seattle and surrounding areas really, are asking for mentors and then also like where they can go to get hands-on experience. So that's where I've just directed them to your website and um, you know, and your club to answer those questions because I'm not sure. So right now I'm in more of a position where I'm just directing people to ask other people further
Yeah.
questions. That doesn't feel great because, at least I can point them in a direction, but I would like to be able to provide more information. So yeah, so really looking for mentors up in that area and apiary sites, yeah, where people can go and just have some hands-on or just see what it's like.
Have you been asked yet to talk to the outreach committee for WASBA?
Mm-mm.
It's not truly an outreach committee. It's actually the president's club sort of thing. And a representative from each of the member clubs is encouraged to come. And they talk about things like insurance or something like that. Well, your sort of thing where you're offering a service, you could get some pretty good coverage getting some of the presidents directly that way or their immediate representative that they sent both east and west sides of the mountains.
Okay.
Yes, you need to talk to Dawn Beck. Okay. And you may have heard the name Dawn Beck already. And is she president right now of Skagit Bee Club, which is up north before
Okay.
Bellingham. We have Skagit County.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, okay. I'll get you some information on that because once the word gets out, like you said, yeah, at this point you are kind of directing, but that's okay
Mhm.
because then you can find out who has the apiary who's offering a class when, and who has more. And I bet there are places in Washington where you have more veterans, or their VFW is, I don't know, veteran group is more active. Somebody is more active in that area, and that would also help get the word out quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And you do have to have a certain amount of property own or be renting steadily to have bees on your own property.
Yeah.
And then there's, as you said, there's also people having contact with the hives, even if they're disabled and such, and you can
Right.
get them, you know what a long hive is, you only lift out one frame at a time going down the row. So you never have to lift the big 50, 70-pound box.
Right.
It's not even, you don't have to worry about it. It's not even expected of you.
Right.
So, wow, that's a lot to
Okay.
take in.
Alex, this is Michael Duncan.
Hi, Michael.
I used to be involved with veterans group Point Man Ministries about 40 years ago. And I just Googled them up, and they have a Washington Military Resource Directory. And it might be something that you might be able to get listed on so
Okay.
that that outlet can have a contact for you. And it's wamilitary.com, and it's Point Man Ministries International, and they have a Washington Military Resource Directory. They're out of Federal Way.
Okay.
Rick Bullman, and then there's a phone number 253-350-2494. And that might be just another outlet for you to get the word out for what you're doing, and for them to be able to link with you if there's any veterans that want to work with bees and agriculture, whatever that you're offering. They
That's
predominantly deal with post-traumatic stress syndrome with
yeah.
veterans.
Okay.
But so
Well, that's that's great, because that's one of the, like, beekeeping, we've had individuals from like last year that had PTS. Like starting in dealing with bees was something that was really healing, which is why, healing through hives is like the whole idea of working with bees, and like how sensory it is and how focused you have to be, and all of those things kind of play into that. So that's great. That's a great resource. I appreciate it.
Yep, you're welcome.
Yep.
Are there more questions for Alex?
And
And
if anybody
more,
has questions that come up, please, I put my my email in the chat, and yeah, so anybody that has further questions or knows anybody who could benefit from our program, please reach out. And yeah, and then Eli, you and I will be in touch.
yeah, because there's so many opportunities, but the problem is you got to get in touch with all the different clubs, and it's a little tricky.
It
And
is
which one has the apiary, and the WASBA curriculum, you are restricted at this point for the certificates. Now, if somebody has a workshop that's not a WASBA workshop, how does it go? Can you still get reimbursed for that? I mean, they don't have to.
Are you talking as a mentor?
Well, there's mentoring, but there's also a lot of classes that, if there was a different beginner class, could you still take it in addition to the WASBA, the one that you can get the WASBA certificate for?
It has to be certified through WASBA, or like a WASBA affiliated club.
Affiliated.
Yes.
So would they have to be a WASBA member club? For
Are
example,
you
if we did this queen raising workshop that we're working on right now,
right?
and you show up and it includes videos and training and such. Next year, we're not charging till next year anyway, so this is all would be next year. But if we have something like that, we're a member club, but it's not a WASBA's going to give you a certificate for it.
The
It's our
workshop
personal
might be
thing.
different. Then yes, then if as long as you're a member, I think it is that. As long as you're a member of WASBA and it's not or like affiliated in that way, just because WASBA is written in the grant. So when you're working with nonprofits and you have grants, you do have to follow pretty strictly to, we can rewrite something next year that's like a little looser. But yeah, so for this grant currently, what we have money for is, yeah, So if people would come to your workshop, for example, they would get reimbursed for that.
Even though they don't get a certificate at the end, we are a
Correct.
WASBA club.
Yes.
Okay, so a lot of clubs that don't necessarily offer the certificates, as you found out when you're referring people on to get a beginner course at this time of year, not every club is offering a beginner course, just as people
No.
are starting to really think about it, which is part
Yeah.
of why we offer beginner 6 or 7 times a year, which actually we would be happy if other member clubs would sort of start doing this. There's a tremendous demand. So you know, anybody who's
Yeah.
got a club out there that would like to offer summer courses, we could use some
Yeah,
time
because
off.
I've gotten the most people. Well, and that's the most people. I mean, I had, I think I had 15 people reach out over the past 2 weeks that are interested in beekeeping. And it just so happened that we had met right before then, so I could refer them to your club. Otherwise, I would have nowhere to refer them to because not a lot of places offer courses in the summer because it's a busy season. So,
Sometimes Ellen Miller, that you've already spoken to, the vice
okay.
president of education, who's on vacation, I think, right now, but like the club she's working with directly, personally with, I want to say Central Plains over in Eastern
Yeah.
Washington. Sometimes
Mhm.
they are. So, and sometimes it's in the WASBA newsletter. But
Okay.
yeah. So she might know where things
Okay.
are being offered because it is important, when you're ready to take it, when it's time, it's a good
Right.
time.
Well,
So
and
thanks.
remember, Eli, not even the clubs that offer, the beginner's course, they don't actually have one.
They have one and they'll offer it once a year or twice a year. And if you miss it, you've missed it. If it
Yeah.
was on those two
Or they
Saturdays,
don't even, well, if you remember this Snohomish, when I first started, I wanted to take a
yeah,
beginner's,
very
and
difficult.
they said, yeah, we have them, but they didn't.
Yeah, beekeepers
So, I
have
mean, I
trouble
think some
scheduling, and
clubs are doing that,
Yeah,
and I
it's
don't know why.
it is a little bit of a puzzlement, but this will kind of help too, that veterans are going to start
Yeah, I
asking
think
for it
so.
and joining the clubs that do offer
Right.
the certificate system.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Okay, any other questions for Alex? We know where to find you. And there's
Yes.
two more links to your websites, which I know I put it on the Facebook discussion page, and I'll make sure. And the document you just showed us, is that okay for publication?
Yes.
I
It's
can't download it. It doesn't let me download it or print it or anything. It's
okay. I
got,
can change
it's
the
locked.
settings on it. Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah, because we'd love to share that out, and we would put it on our Facebook discussion group. We have a place we put files.
okay.
And we can't do that on a regular Facebook page. You can't put files. But oddly enough, on a Facebook discussion group, there's a place that you can download any PDF that you want.
Okay.
So if you do that, we'll do that
Yeah,
and then
I
tell people it's
will.
there.
Yes, I will figure out, yeah, how to change the settings on there. Because anybody, yeah, because you can include the link, but for people to actually, yeah, download it, I will look into that and have
Okay.
that ready by this evening. So
And then there were two other links you sent out to websites too.
yeah. So I sent out, let's see the websites. Okay,
And
yeah. So
I
I are just like our GRuB veteran program webpage. And then the Washington chapter, the Farmer Veteran Coalition, which has one, it has a veteran resource guide on there, and then it also has our programs and then another way to contact us. That's like the form that people would fill out, but you can also just reach out to me directly.
well, if there aren't any more questions, thanks so much. And I really think this will take off. I'm really glad you came
I really
because
appreciate you
yeah,
reaching out. Yeah,
yeah.
this is great. So thank you so much. And yeah, if anyone has any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And yes, we will see. I can't figure out how to get back into the thing. Okay, there it is. Yeah, so we'll be at the Pollinator Fest on June 22nd if you will be there, so or your club. So
Yeah, it wasn't very well attended last year. I don't know about this year. It's in an odd place. If you notice that
I did
Olympia's,
notice.
yeah, but Olympia's not in the mad rush of Seattle. I mean,
Right.
because real estate's expensive and
Yes.
yeah, and difficult to borrow, rent, lease, whatever, claim a bit of. So it's an interesting place to have put it. And
It
then
is.
the
Yeah.
October convention is up in October is in Linwood.
Right.
So straight up I-5 to Linwood. So you'll
That'll
probably
be
be
fun.
there too.
Yes, we will.
Yes, be talking there. Well,
Yep.
thank you so much.
Thank you. And your
What
meeting
else?
has run over, so I'm sorry if I
Oh,
talked
did we
too much.
really? Oh, no, we go till 8 o'clock. I'll
Oh,
try to get through
okay.
the announcements before eight
Great.
o'clock. No, we're
Okay.
not in a rush. And some of us
Okay.
stay to talk, but we'll get through the rest of our business before
Yes.
eight
The
o'clock.
rest of
And
your meeting, and thank you, and we'll be in touch.
okay, and you're welcome to stay and listen if you want to, but
Okay.
otherwise, we know where to find you. You know where to find us.
Yes. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Thank you,
much. And
everyone.
thanks for everything you're doing for the veterans too. I mean, wow, with Memorial Day coming up and the 4th of July, I was thinking this is
Yeah.
the right time because I apologize to all the veterans who are tired of listening to us say, thank you for your service. This is a real thank you.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
get help, that real
Yes,
support, real
exactly. Yes.
assistance, that's
Yes.
better. Although
Yeah.
I still am going to say thank you for your assistance. Okay.
Me too.
Okay. Thank
Take
you.
care, everyone.
Bye. Okay. I want to, if it's okay with everybody, go back to announcements, except I was on the queen rearing workshop and I wanted to talk just a little bit more because people say, what is this? And it's very different from any other queen working workshop. Let's see. Share screen. I am here. Okay, I got it back, didn't I? The queen rearing workshop says, why rear muzzet club? Okay, everybody says, well, why can't you just go to the 1 day workshop and everything will be fine? It really is hard. It is really, really hard. The timing, the number of steps, the costs. And then after you've tried grafting, you may say, like a lot of people said, this is too many steps. This takes too long. It's too easy to miss a step. I'd rather try another method. And then we get to talk about one of my favorite topics, the demeray. But Snell Grove and Cloakboard are very much the same, where you're not trying to have a lot of specialized equipment, but you're trying not to lose honey production either. And part of the problem of making a lot of mating nukes is that you make a lot of small hives, you lose honey production. And that's important for a lot of us. If you understand all the concepts of how to raise bees, and you get all these chances to talk bees like we do as many times as people can come to the Queen Workshop, then and it is a long workshop. Although you don't try to show up for everyone, okay? Please, I'm not expecting people to show up for every single session. You look at this list. These are the critical days in those weeks. And the really critical ones are the 25th coming up and then through the 10th. But it's still critical to be monitoring, feeding, and watching. But really, if you can be available for a number of those Saturdays, most of them are Saturdays. There's a couple weekdays. You can't do everything every 7th day. Doggone it, the bees don't understand being on a weekly schedule. They keep expecting us to do things for them in the middle of the week. So I'll send this sort of thing out. This is the kind of timelines that we're working with. And when somebody else sets up a timeline for you and shows you the steps and says, okay, now you do this, this, and this, and you have to do it in this order. And if you leave one of these steps out, you may have wasted a lot of time, even though you had a wonderful time trying on your own. If you want to join in this, I'm going to be sending out weekly emails. I need you to send me the email you're using that you want to get those updates at and pay dues, which a lot of people already did because they took a class since Labor Day. If you took a class since Labor Day, you already paid. Min is putting together the Sign Up Genius. I just asked him to put these dates on, and then people can realize someone is no one's coming, and you can help by filling in if there's a day that nobody is coming. We've had 3, 4, 5 people, and that it really works well. We could handle, in a lot of cases, double that. But if we can get 3 or 4 or 5 people every Saturday, or when we need them occasionally on a weekday, that's great. We do need people midweek to help. The dates that are listed are the critical dates. Something needs to be set up, something needs to be done. There's no way around it. But midweek, some of this the feeding, the management, swarm management, since we can't say swarm prevention or control because it seems like that always fails, but we're managing our bees. Some of that can be done midweek. Even some of the things that we will do on a Saturday, if everyone's there, could be done on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We just have to find out when people can come. And to get everybody from all levels of experience, from just getting your first bees this year up to you're super experienced and you just want to put the fine points on this, or get your journeyman service hours while you're helping the rest of us do this, you are going to end up explaining bees and talking bees and mentoring if you're involved in this and you're more experienced. Ask Nathan, because he ended up doing a lot of explaining last year and actually helped do quite a bit of rewriting the schedule and the plan, so it will work better this year. But to make sure we can reach all levels and kind of coordinate this, I am starting 5 or 6 short weekly videos that I'll send out, and I'll try to cover what you need to know for that Saturday. And what we're doing on Saturday or the day you come will make more sense if you watch these in advance. And at the end of it all, pick up the queens you earned. Every 5 times you come, you'll definitely earn a queen to take home. I think last time it ended up every 5 hours people worked or something, that they logged in and signed in and were there. I think even then they got a queen to take home. We just sort of looked at the number of hours and divvied it up at the end. And I don't think anybody got shorted at all. There were people who said, I don't really need a queen. Oh, my dears, I'm sorry. I did something funny. I don't know what I did. Oh, I know what I did. Back here again. Sorry, clicked the wrong button. Oh dear, I'll have to go back through again. Okay, I'm back on the blue screen, right? And that was all I had. Okay, I wanted to be sure that was all I had. So Sign Up Genius is coming soon. Does anybody have questions about this? And then we can talk about everything everyone else is interested in, which is probably the swarming. Any questions about the Queen Workshop? We'll take you from you've never had bees until this year up to advanced, and we will make it work. It worked last year, honest, it did. And people learn a lot. Everybody talks about the different ways to do splits. You learn a lot of techniques. I was going back into a hive that Min was helping on, and I opened up the hive and say, well, Min did this last time. The reason I knew was because on 8 frames, the way you space your frames is sort of everybody does it a little differently. Some people try to space them a little farther apart each one, but you can end up with Burkholm until they're really well drawn out. And some people always push them to the right side, because on an 8 frame, there's always a little extra space. It's like they're 8 3/4 frame boxes. It's something about 8 frame construction that doesn't make sense. So I can tell. It's interesting. You learn how everybody does it differently.
Eli, this is Colleen.